Hi, this is Giovanna. Happy Valentine's Day. This video is for everyone who spent this Valentine's Day alone like I did. I spent mine working. Also, warning everyone, there's going to be some profanity because I don't feel the need to censor myself, especially on YouTube. So I made a character ranking for specifically Voltage Inc. game characters because the problem with their business model is they make you pay per character per route, and they are split into main story, epilogue, and sequel, etc. Basically, it's just broken down into looks, character, story, and the most important component, fangirl feels. It doesn't matter how crap or great everything else is, if I didn't really enjoy it, then what's the point in buying it? So I'll start from the lowest score to the highest score. So the first character is Tookie Kichi from Serendipity Next Door. The basic premise of the game is you move into an apartment complex and all your neighbors are hot Bishonen dudes, surprisingly. And Tookie Kichi is kind of like the flamboyant fashionista type. So I hope this helps if you plan on investing in one of these game routes. And I chose him mostly because of his looks, because he had interesting hair. That was basically my preference though. And he got a 3.46. Now the reason he got that was because his story was just boring. There isn't really much to say, it's just not much romantic development, and even that was kind of weak in my opinion. I played his main story and epilogue and they were both subpar, although the epilogue kind of expanded on his character a little bit more. The next character is Iri Sachiro from Kiss of Revenge. The whole premise of the game is the girl's mom passed away because of some botched operation, and it was mostly the fault of the surgeon. So she comes back like 10 years later or something. She's a doctor now and she's obviously come for revenge. And it's basically doctors and surgeons. I was really iffy on the premise because it sounded very angst driven, and I was pretty much right. The only reason that I got into the game in the first place was because of the doctor thing, because like white lab coats guys. The character type, he's kind of like the elusive Glammeganican, and he got a 4.64. And it was mostly let down by the story, not much the character. There wasn't much character development, and the romance was barely there. I mean, if this was a visual novel, I would be fine with it, but it is an otome game, and I expect some. And there was only like a little bit of romance towards the end. It was mostly the girl being all like vengeful and doing stupid things and being all angsty, like I love him and blah, blah, blah. Like it was just boring. The next character is Tanemura Haruki from Dreamy Days in West Tokyo. The basic premise of that game is you move back to your hometown 10 years later to live there and meet your childhood friends who also happen to be hot Bishonen dudes. The Tanemura Haruki dude is kind of the nice guy type, which is tricky to do well because they tend to be boring, and this was the case for this game. He got a 5.16 because he was kind of like the nice guy throughout the whole game, and it got to a point where the story could not develop anymore, because to tell a story you need conflict, and because this dude was just so nice for the whole thing, it was just really boring. And what they did, spoiler alert, is they kind of made him have amnesia. And that kind of got on my nerves because they were just dragging the story on. because that's what usually happens in manga and anime. When they can't build on any more story, they throw in like amnesia, or some crazy bitch character comes from nowhere and goes, he's mine and crap, which I hate. The next character is Hatsune Rihito from the same game. He's also the childhood friend that you thought was a chick, which is pretty sad. He plays piano and all that, and his tiger mom kind of forces him to do nothing but play piano. And he got a 5.35 because it was just a fairly average run-of-the-mill plotline. It's just some conflict with his mom, a bit of romance, not that much. And it was just average. Nothing more to say, really. Next character is Momoi Tsuchiro from Finally in Love Again. The basic premise of this game is it's been 10 years since you've had a relationship. You're in like your late 20s and you're what's it called, a patisserie or something? And you've been boyfriendless for 10 years. It sounds like my future life. And Momoi Tsuchiro is her co-worker that she finds a new job in. And the story was actually quite good. It wasn't that bad. It's good, but for an otome game, I felt like it just was too typical. Because his character type is kind of the mean teaser type, which I usually like, but it just felt so typical. If you play a lot of Voltage games, you'll notice this stock Voltage character type, which is like the mean dude who teases the heroine a lot. And he got a also 5.35. The next character is Hibiya Masoli from, again, Serendipity Next Door. He's kind of like the canon character, which means he's kind of like the main one that you're supposed to go for. He's a musician, kind of aloof type of dude, because he's famous and all. He got a 5.57 because the whole thing was kind of average. Again, romance-wise, it was like pretty good, I guess. It wasn't that memorable. That's the reason why it got such an average score. So I'll move on to the next character. The next character is Chikage from Enchanted in the Moonlight. The basic premise of this game is you have all your ayakashi, which is like Japanese like monsters and stuff, demons. You have this special blood. You're like the chosen one. If they bear children, if you bear children, then you become powerful. If they eat you, then they'll become powerful, all that crap. So you have to pick some random ayakashi dude who just happens to be very hot, by the way, to protect you and subsequently bear children with. Chikage is the Kitsune? Chikage is the Tengu, sorry. The Tengu, which is like the Blackbird. Oh, that's actually a manga. There's a manga called Blackbird about this Tengu demon with like black wings and stuff. And he got a 5.57. And the reason is because his character was just kind of boring. His character type is the, again, aloof, kind of kudere, not very responsive. And because of that, there wasn't much romance in the main story. But during the epilogue and the sequel, he actually warmed up a bit. He was actually kind of more affectionate and more expressive. But I feel like the main story is where it should be good, and it was very lacking in that department. Next character is the Kitsune of the story from the same game, Makabe. Makabe is the stock character from Voltage games, and it's a hit or miss for me. He got a 5.71, and the reason why is because it was just, the writing was so bad. The plot line was alright. His character wasn't anything new, but it wasn't like really that bad. it was just the writing got really bad, and I don't know why. Everything else, like the other characters I played in the game, were kind of at a good standard, but the writing was stupid, and the thoughts of the main heroine really annoyed me. I was like, what are you doing? So that was my problem with that. So the next one is Takoto Joji from Dreamy Days in West Tokyo. He got a 6.69, and which is above average, surprisingly. And he is the caregiver of the main heroine in that premise. So you move back into your hometown, and he's the one that looks after you, and you stay at his house. And it's all like the forbidden romance between older dude and high school gal. And it was actually quite interesting. But I feel like it only really picks up in the second season, which I didn't include in the overall score. But generally speaking, his route was actually quite good. Next one is Narita Shinobu from Serendipity Next Door. He got a 7.02. And I seriously love this dude. He was so good. I have a thing for the kind of elusive, two-faced type of characters. And I mean that in the most positive way, because he kind of appears like the nice landlord, but then he has this teasy side that I like. So that's kind of my personal thing. You're a masochist! Initially, I didn't really like his character design too much. It was just kind of average. But then I saw him in glasses, and that kind of just changed the whole game for me. I was just like, wow, he looks great. But yeah, the storyline was quite good, actually. It was kind of a little bit of angst, a little bit of melodrama, but for the most part, I really thoroughly enjoyed it. Next character is Yukinojo. He got a 6.97. Oh, sorry, the order's wrong. He is the Yukibito, which is the snow spirit. His story was really goodly paced, if that makes any sense. It wasn't drenched in romance, I don't know, sickly sweet type of romance. It was kind of mellow, and it was slow. By the end of the main story, the romance wasn't fully developed, it was just the beginning of it. So it actually gives you more incentive to invest in the epilogue and sequel. I can see why this route might not be for everyone, because it is not fully on romantic, but I actually really like it as a game. His character is kind of the, how you say, hot and cold type. First he is all cold and distant, and then he's all like sweet, and it's just it plays on your feels, your fangirl feels. That's why he scored so well there. The next character is Wakaba Rui from True Love Sweet Lies, which is by far my favorite Voltage game as a whole. So True Love Sweet Lies is based on this main heroine who is a photographer. Now she somehow accidentally takes this photo of some dude from the Yakuza underbelly, and because of that photo she's on the run because everyone wants to kill her, kidnap her, take her footage and photos. So these dudes from this agency, this private agency, protect her. So they're basically detectives. So Wakaba Rui is the actor, and he is, again, the two-faced type. I don't know why I love them. He's kind of hot and cold some of the time, but he's not the extreme type. He's kind of in the middle. And he got a 7.21. The reason why he got a fairly good score, actually, was because the story was good, the character design was very good, personality wasn't too bad either. So all in all, a very good overall plotline. The next one is from the same game, is Nanahoshi Kiyoharu. He is kind of like the stock character of Voltage games, as I've mentioned several times. He's also from True Love Sweet Lies. He got a 7.82. His only fault was because he's such a typical dude. He's like the teaser, and he's also kind of hot and cold a bit throughout the story. All in all, very good storyline. Everything was good, romance, the character development was actually quite good in this one too. And it actually gives you more incentive to invest more in subsequent epilogues and sequels. The next one is Nanahoshi Sakuya, and they have the same last name because they're actually fraternal twins. He got a 7.57. Now, he got such a high score because I initially, when I saw him, his character design was just so good that I just had to play him first. So that's a good fangirl feel that I had there. His personality was kind of like, oh, I'm scared of girls, ew, girls. But he kind of turns around throughout the story. The only problem I had was it wasn't a gradual warming up to the character. He kind of just had a split second of eel girl to, oh, I'm cool with you now, which was kind of odd. But other than that, everything to character development, romance, and obviously fangirl feels I had a lot when I played that was fairly great. Now, for the top voltage game character, we got Fujishima Aki from Finally in Love Again. He got a 8.61. Oh my god, his storyline is just so good. I'm having fangirling feels right now. So his personality was the biggest thing for me. Because unlike most of the characters who feel like caricatures and kind of tropes, Fujishima Aki actually feels like a dude in real life. As crazy as that sounds, maybe a bit of an exaggeration on my part, but he doesn't feel like... He's like a teaser, but he's also the nice guy, and he doesn't fit in a trope. He's kind of a combination. It feels like they made a character that was more human. They put in components rather than saying, oh, we're going to make a tsundere, or we're going to make someone who's like a kudere, very cold or something. He feels like they actually built a character up. Main story and the epilogue were quite good. And the sequel was... it was alright. It wasn't that great. But otherwise, I felt like there was a lot of character development, a lot of romance, a ton of that. And I was running high on fangirl feels the whole time. I think because one of like the first or CGs was him shirtless on a bed, but let's not mention that. Yeah, so that kind of had me pumped. So yeah, that marks my... how many characters is that? Oh yeah, I'll put it in the title. But yeah, my top voltage characters. I'd like you guys, if you've played any voltage game characters, to comment below and recommend me some. Because as soon as I have money again, I'd love to play a few more characters from these games. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to see more videos of, I don't know, otome game recommendations or just even manga recommendations, I read a lot of manga, then yeah, comment and like. And I also have a character ranking for PC otome game characters, but I feel like that should be saved for another day. So yeah, thanks again for watching. It's Gil Anna signing off.